Allow me to share with you a concerned mother's response to the 2015 school curriculum. Deuteronomy 31, verse 10 to 13 says, "The Lord commanded that these laws be read to all the people at the end of every seventh year, the year of release, at the festival of tabernacles, when all Israel will assemble before the Lord at the sanctuary. Call them all together." The Lord instructed, "Men, women, children, foreigners living among you, to hear the laws of God and to learn His will, so that you will reverence the Lord your God and obey His laws. Do this so that your little children who have not known these laws will hear them and learn how to revere the Lord your God as long as you live in the promised land." This is the New Living Bible. Let me begin by informing ourselves of what is this new curriculum, so much acclaim and impose new sex ed school curriculum. Liberal government under lesbian premier Kathleen Wayne wants parents to accept the newly revised sex ed program as an unbiased presentation of fact and reality that kids need to learn and accept in grades 1 to 8. The 2015 Health and Physical Education program states that sexual health, let me quote, is more than simply teaching young people about the anatomy and physiology of reproduction, but includes the relatively recent innovations of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression, as well as gender roles and expectations, end of quote. Let us not be misled. The purpose of this new curriculum is to teach children that they have the right to enjoy their sexuality. You heard me. To teach children that they have the right to enjoy their sexuality as long as they don't hurt others and avoid getting an STD or becoming pregnant. Let me be clear. The moment you are irresponsible with your life, with your sexuality, the moment you will hurt others around you. Allow me to present the main tenets of this new curriculum. Well, according to my understanding, there's nothing new about this new curriculum, but we're going back to paganism. Number 1, children as early as in grade 1 will learn to identify body parts, including genitalia, calling it by its name. Sounds like biology class, more appropriate for high school students than for first graders who don't even know how to name each of their fingers on their hands. And now we're teaching them to name their genitalia, part of their body. By grade 3, children will learn to identify the characteristic of healthy relationship. This is number 2, by the way. By grade 3, they will learn to identify the characteristic of healthy relationship. You heard me. Healthy relationship. There's a lot of people that I know that don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. They're stuck in an abusive relationship. And now we're going to teach children by grade 3 how to identify a healthy relationship as if they're having it. Accepting differences, being inclusive. Quote, they will learn to respect gender identity, sexual orientation that make each person unique. You heard me. The starting as early as grade 3 to impose, to guide our kids to accept any sexual orientation as something normal and unique. Number 3, children will learn that social bullying, including making homophobic comments, hostile attitudes, or a negative bias, which may be overt or unspoken, and which may exist at an individual and or systematic level towards people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. Okay, so it will not be accepted. Any type of social bullying against people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. I totally am for teaching children acts of kindness, respect, to speak their mind in a way that does not humiliate, denigrate others, or marginalize others, but not to segregate a particular group. Children don't need to be rude, period. Not yes to homosexuals. Instead, I believe we should be teaching children about acts of kindness, how to help others, any human being. For instance, let's concentrate on the elders, on the elderly population. How can we serve or better understand an elderly? How to help people who are physically challenged? Why not start there? To give every human being its dignity back, where we or children learn how to respect everybody and not just about making the agenda about homosexuals. Number 4, by grade 5, children will learn about the process of reproduction, including menstruation and ejaculation. They learn that the gender identity and sexual orientation is something, now listen to this, it's something they're born with, that they cannot control these things, that they're born with gender identity and sexual orientation. You heard me. This is indoctrination of an atheist, a type of atheism that has denied God its right of being in our society. This is faith. This is another type of religion being imposed. So if people want to be tolerant to all points of view, well, let's start with this impartation of intolerance here. You're not born with a sexual orientation. Babies don't know what to be male or female it's about. They learn that through association by the sex God has given them. So let us not confuse our children. Number 5, by grade 6, they will be introduced to exploring one's body by touching or, listen to this, masturbating. It's something that many people do and find pleasurable. Many people, you mean adults? Or people that don't know how to control their sexual impulses, and now we're teaching kids. It is common and it is not harmful, and it's one way of learning about your body. That's what they're saying. That by grade 6, it's okay to start exploring your body. Now, it sounds that we are training our kids' mind through this curriculum to be open to sexual predators. Once our kids start exploring their own body and allowing consent to others to touch them, then it's normal. Next thing in the list will be not accepting homosexuals or others as part of who you are, your gender identity, but next in the list will be accepting pedophiles as something normal, of a choice. This is where we're heading. It is in this grade 6, that children learn how to give legal consent to sexual activity. A clear yes is a sign of consent, they say. Really? Legal consent. Kids don't know about consent, the word consent, legality, or about masturbation, or about touching themselves and finding pleasure. What are we going to teach? How come we're opening this door of sexual morality as early on as in our children? What is going on here? Number 6, grade 6. By grade 7, revisiting the topic of sexting, defined as the practice of sending explicit sexual messages or photos electronically. The curriculum teaches children that the practice has significant risk and what they can do to minimize those risks. Suggestions include that there are legal penalties for anyone sharing images without consent. There's the word again. The children are taught that they are thinking that if they're thinking of having sex, they should keep a condom with them so they will have it when they need it. They are taught that instead of practicing abstinence, one of the best things you can do to stop an HIV is to stop the stigma that is associated with having the infection, and not the practice of abstinence, but stop having this idea, this belief of HIV associated with sex. They will be able to analyze the attraction and benefits of being in a relationship, including for the reason of pleasure. Included is teaching kids about oral and anal sex. Excuse me, why do they need to know about this? Are they going to use video documentaries as an examples? Where are we heading? What doors are we opening? Well, I am sure can tell you that the doors for sexual predators are being opened, and our kids will be left exposed as victims if this curriculum happens in September of 2015. Number 9, language and communication are never neutral. While the curriculum lists abstinence as a choice for students, even telling them it is better to wait until you're older to have sex because you need to be emotionally ready. I'm sorry. I believe that abstinence should be listed as the choice for students with all its benefits and advantages. Parents are the primary educators with respect to sexual education, values, appropriate behavior, cultural, spiritual, and personal beliefs and tradition. This belongs to the parents. Be alert of the bias of this curriculum. Not once in the entire curriculum is the word marriage or love mentioned in relation to sexual activity. The sexual education curriculum goes beyond teaching children the simple facts of human reproduction, but imposes, manipulates, tricks, and grooms children to become a generation that accepts personal lifestyles of a few sexual confused people, I believe. The hidden agenda of this new curriculum is that now the homosexual marriage is legal, there needs to be a redefinition of the family, and this needs to have an impact or influence in the sexual education of children. You heard me, children. Why not impart extra courses on college or at the university level? A selective where students who are presumably using their brains to analyze, discern, or judge while taking the courses on different sexual orientations. Why start with the children? It looks to me more a grooming is happening. Also, let us remember that legality does not necessarily mean that it's right or morality. For this, we need truth to help us define what is right from what is wrong. And truth cannot be subjective or sold in the marketplace as an item that if it fits you, you buy it. If not, pick something else. The Word of God, the Bible, is the only truth that can help us understand and save our humanity from further chaos. God has goodwill for humanity. An example that legality does not mean that it's right is the slavery institution that lived for so many centuries. It is immoral to treat another human being as a property or as an animal. It was the Christian message, rightly understood, that freed humanity from this atrocity. The same thing can happen to everyone who is confused about their sexual identity. Only God, through Jesus, can give you the freedom to become the real you and not a fake you. Only God can restore your identity and dignity back and will not diminish it to the status of a beast. How can we respond to this revised sexual education curriculum? Allow me to share some premises. 9, to be brief. Number 1, the role of the democratic government, and not an autocratic one, is to do what is best for the population. Keep it from danger, keep it safe, develop just laws that defend people's interests, and allow its citizens to participate in the welfare of their country. such as to express their opinions about this new sexual education curriculum and to be heard, especially when the number is in the 100,000. Number 2, we need to teach children the dignity that humans deserve. This is a biblical building block, and not just to show a special interest to a particular group. Instead of focusing on teaching how to accept differences in others, why not teach children how to disagree with others in a respectful and cordial manner? How to respect everyone, how to do acts of kindness towards others, as I mentioned, such as the elderly or pregnant women, how to respond to people who are physically or mentally challenged and not to stigmatize them. There are so many things positive for our humanity that we can transmit to the children where everyone benefits. Number 3, the same way how a heterosexual marriage should not be, says the liberal government, imposed to others as the normal, others should not impose to us, heterosexuals, their belief in accepting their private practices. Why is the family being politicized? Why is sexual education being politicized? I think the intentions are clear and it's a way to implement a long-term changes from generations to come. Changes that distort humanity and does not celebrate beauty, morality, and purity. Number 4, the school as an institution is there to teach the sciences, mathematics, history, geography, astronomy, and you name it, and not to impart about morality. And if due out of need, this needs to be agreed upon by the population, the parents. In the past, Canada has claimed to its Christian origin. Why not go back to where decisions were taken and where they were informed by the Bible, where it had the best interest for its citizen? Once the education system becomes responsible to impart beyond sexual education, the doors are opening to morbid fascination in children and adolescents just because a minority is confused about their sexual identity. Let us be realistic. My guess is, since we are drowning children with sexual explicit information, sexual assaults will rise. Since adolescents have not learned how to have self-control, but are now going to be learning about pleasure, its benefits, and immediate sexual gratification when there is consent. My children don't need to learn more about anal or oral sex. They need to learn about sexual education by me, the parent, who know best what my child needs, what type of information my child needs to be given according to their level of intake, maturity, curiosity. Why not teach children calculus by grade 7 or chemistry by grade 3 or any other courses, workshop? The education system needs to revise their curriculum, compare our Canadian academic level in comparison to other countries, China, India, Pakistan, and make revisions so our children are ready for high school and further learning. A lot of kids are starting college and university and not are properly prepared. So why not teach children chemistry or calculus? Could it be that they are not ready to learn this? Then who decides? When are they ready to learn about sexual education? I don't want my kids confused about their sexual identity, and my guess is that the so-called sexual addictions group will find an increase of people attending once our children become adults. Number 5, since morality has been secularized and is considered irrelevant, meaning you can pick what to believe in this pluralistic society where different opinions believed have the same value and acceptance, sexual education should be something irrelevant that submits itself to this pluralistic and multicultural society. It should be for individuals to decide what to teach to their children and not what to teach. Number 6, the education and the upbringing of the children is the privilege and responsibility of the parents and not of the government or the schools. Only when the government has won the custody of children through the legal system, in cases where the children's safety is concerned, are they responsible for their upbringing. If the government starts deciding how to educate and to upbring our children, then we're dealing with an autocratic and dictator government. Nothing different than what goes on in communist countries. Number 7, following from premise 4, as parents, we need to make sure that no curriculum gets approval in the educational system, especially one of sexual education, without our consent. This must be revisited carefully, and a table for dialogue must be implemented for the kids' welfare and safety in mind. It is being pushed, this curriculum, and implemented in the school year of September 2015. I will ask to sign a form to ask for the removal of my children from their classrooms when sexual education is imparted. If you don't agree with this revised curriculum, you need to do the same. Ask and give permission to remove your children from their classroom when sex education is imparted. This means that you, parent, must give this education at home. If you neglect to teach your children about sexual education, you are leaving your kids without any weapons to defend themselves or give answers when their friends challenge them or talk about these issues. Number 8, don't be fooled. What are we going to do with current problems teenagers are facing, such as alcoholism, depression, eating disorders, suicide, to name a few? Is the education system going to impart AA meetings in the schools? Are the schools going to include in their curriculum what is depression and how to deal with it? The false assumption behind all of this is that the more information we give, the schools educate, the less incidents we'll have of bullying, sexting, and confusion about sexual orientation. Is it true that the more information we have of something, the less we will transgress on what is being taught? I don't think so. It has not taken account the falling nature of humanity and that we are more attracted, we are more prone to perversion, immorality than to what is right and pure. That's why we have laws. Number 9, what we need to do is to support the institution of the family. The one this liberal government pretends to undermine and redefine. The family is the context and the key to discuss these social problems and to dialogue about what is best for our children. As a parent, I believe that I have the right and the responsibility to teach my children about morality, sexual education, what is right from what is wrong, and most importantly, to establish the foundation to their life, the fear and obedience of God, as He has revealed Himself through Jesus and through His written word, the Bible. The passage that I read, Deuteronomy 31, verse 13, commands me to teach my kids the fear of the Lord. And the only way I can do it is to have the protection of my religious freedom to decide what to impart to my children. Christian, if society is going to perdition and self-condemnation, where is your salt to preserve from corruption? If society is walking in darkness, where is your light? Are you hiding your light? You must shine for Jesus. The glorious gospel is God's love story for a self-destructive humanity. People condemn themselves because they have rejected God's truth and God Himself. Matthew 5:13-16 says, "You are the world's seasoning, salt, to make it tolerable. If you lose your flavor, what will happen to the world? And you yourself will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. You are the world's light, a city on a hill glowing in the night for all to see. Don't hide your light. Let it shine for all. Let your good deeds glow for all to see, so that they will praise your heavenly Father." This is from the New Living Bible. May God give us the wisdom, and let us fight this with an attitude of prayer. Let us be humble, and let us, in all we do, shine for Jesus. May the Lord bless you.